Though we went full-time in our RV a year ago, I just quit my job this week. Notice I didn't say retired. That's not what this is about. The definition of retirement is the action or fact of leaving one's job and ceasing to work. What I did was quit my current job so I could discover my encore career. So why did I quit a great job making good money when I'm only 56? What are we going to do to support ourselves? Do we have a backup plan, and why quit now? Thanks for coming back, but if you're new, I'm Larry. My wife Alice and I are Downsizing Makes Sense, like the penny. We make videos about full-time RV living, RV DIY, campground tours, and product reviews. How do we get to this life-changing decision? After reading the book, Minimalism, Live a Meaningful Life in 2018, it really made me rethink our future now that our kids are grown. We started downsizing and preparing the house for sale with a plan to full-time RV. Then we purchased our Grand Design fifth wheel in the summer of 2019 and started doing weekend trips while waiting for the house to sell, practicing and getting the bugs out of the RV. When we went full-time, we had to camp in a specific zone while I was still working my medical sales job in hospitals between Orlando and Jacksonville. So why are we doing this now instead of later? Why quit and not retire? One of the reasons we're doing this now instead of in our 60s, like we had originally planned, is because I developed rheumatoid arthritis when I was 50. Because of what this job requires, standing for long hours in an operating room and lifting heavy trays of instruments, now at 56, it got to the point where it's becoming extremely difficult to do my job. By the summer of 2020, my arthritis had gotten to the point where I was ready to take some time off of work to heal, which became 3 months over the summer of 2020, camping where I grew up in Ontario, Canada. This would be kind of a test of what living in an RV full-time and not working was like. Could this extend the number of years I have to do the things I love, like traveling, kite surfing, hiking, and mountain biking? Let's face it, job stress is very destructive on the body. And even though my job was not that stressful compared to some, super stressful days affected my rheumatoid arthritis and often caused flare-ups, which made me take steroids and prescription painkillers. During my 3 months off in Canada, I did not have one flare-up, did not have to take any steroids or painkillers, and even though we were very active, hiking and biking and canoeing on a daily basis. During this time, I started to really think about what it would be like if I left my career. Would I miss work? Would constantly traveling and moving be something I enjoy? How much money would it take to travel full-time in an RV? And was quitting my job a good idea? After the time off, I came back and started working on a plan to quit by the end of the year. I wanted to make sure I left in good standing, not only because I made good friends with my customers and my company, but I wanted to leave the door for me to come back in case things didn't work out and I needed to come back to work. How can we afford this new lifestyle? We sold the house and had some decent equity to pay off the truck and the fifth wheel and put some money in the bank to sustain us for a couple years until we figured out how we're going to make money again. What will be our encore career? Who knows? We would try to live as cheaply as possible so we could not be under any financial pressure to make money quickly. Downsizing really helped make this possible. Less stuff equals less cost. Now we have some money in 401ks and IRAs, but we can't access that money until we're at least 59 and a half. We don't want to touch that money. That is for our actual retirement, 65 plus. Now Social Security will be part of the plan, but that's not at least until we're 62, that's 6 years from now. Now, I made a spreadsheet that included every year from now until we're 90 years old, estimated expenses and income, how much money would come from savings, and how long savings would last. In this plan, we would have to make money from age 57 to 65. Now, we don't need to make a lot, just enough to help cover our monthly expenses. Now, we still have one child in college and have money set aside for him to finish his education, which should be this year. What about health insurance? I've gotten health insurance from my employer since I started working after college. I've always had great insurance and never really had to think about it. Since I was quitting at age 56, we had arranged for private health insurance. We could not take the chance to either go without insurance or poor quality insurance. I wouldn't quit my job until I had arranged for a very good replacement of my current health insurance because I have rheumatoid arthritis and AFib. We could lose everything if we have one really bad health emergency. After looking at all the options, including COBRA, I decided to sign up for health insurance through the healthcare.org marketplace. It took a couple of months to get approved and to choose a policy that would cover us nationwide with Blue Cross Blue Shield and be able to start coverage under the new policy January 1st of this year. That process is a video unto itself. Maybe someday we will tackle that. When it came to actually quitting my job, this was actually much more difficult than I thought it would be. I have been working in the same profession for over 30 years. A big change like this was very stressful to even think about. My job was a huge part of my life and how I felt I provided value to others. All of my financial security was tied up in my job. I was not going to be able to physically do my job much longer anyways. Why wait till right up to the point where my body was completely worn out? I had procrastinated resigning and officially quitting at the end of December like I originally planned. I had to tie up some loose ends with my company, so I finally wrote the email quitting on Friday the 15th of January. I didn't work up the guts to hit send until the following Monday. It took me 3 days to do it, but my boss and my company were very supportive. Now, what helped me get the courage to quit? YouTube, believe it or not. I relied heavily on YouTube videos when researching the idea of living full-time in an RV. I consumed hours of RV YouTube content every day before we made our decision to sell everything, including our home of 23 years, and move into an RV. One of the channels we watched a lot was The Roads We Roam. We got to meet Russ and Carrie at the Tampa show in 2020 and have been good friends ever since. On the day I had to call my boss to tell him my plan to quit, I called Russ to get some courage and inspiration. I knew Russ had gone through a similar experience quitting his job to reduce stress and live in an RV full time. I don't think I could have made that call without the help from Russ. I hope someday I will be able to help somebody like Russ helped me. Do we have a backup plan? What do we do if we run out of money or we really don't like living in an RV, traveling across the country, trying to discover our encore career? I left the door open for me to come back to the same company I was working for, and I've been in sales for over 30 years. I could get a job selling something. I could start selling RVs, for instance. I think I would like that. Alice was a teacher for over 30 years and has a master's degree in English. She could always go back to doing that. One thing we have learned is that whatever we do, we will be doing it in a small space with much less stuff, living as cheaply as possible. We are not retired. We have gone through so many changes in the past year, but quitting my job was one of the hardest. When you're brought up to go to college, have a career, get married, buy a home, have children, then retire when you're 65, it is hard to choose a new path. We have heard from many people that have waited to be retired and wish they had started sooner. Our main goal is to enjoy these years, feel fulfilled, and not look back and wish we had done something differently or sooner. Are you rethinking your definition of retirement or considering an encore career? Did you quit working for your regular career early, looking for something different? We would love to hear your story in the comments. Please share your advice and inspiration. You can also leave comments on our Instagram and Facebook pages. If you like this content, we do lots of campground tours, RV DIY, product reviews, and full-time RV living. Please consider subscribing to a channel by clicking this link below. I'll also leave a link up here so you can check out some more videos about what it's like to live full-time in an RV. And remember, downsizing does make sense.